start. I'll try to use up all the time. Thank you all for coming out today. I know some of you just need CCS credit, that's okay. But some of you are actually very interested in the upcoming presidential election. And this is going to be very important. This person is going to be serving on the Presidential Search Committee as King moves forward in selecting a new president. So I thank you all for taking part today. Our election commissioner this year is Ms. Erin Graybill, and she is going to be kind of giving us the lay of what's going to be happening today. So, Erin, go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you for not clapping for me. I was a little afraid that you might have. Welcome to the 2015-2016 SGA presidential debate. If you're a senior, you've been through this a few times, and it's going to work generally the same way. We have a Twitter feed set up. If you have your phone, you can tweet your questions at king_SGA using the hashtag #GreatDebate. Our candidates this year on my right is Chris Butner running for president and his vice presidential candidate Cameron Sale. And on my left is presidential candidate Jonathan Carrier and his vice presidential candidate Talis Snodgrass. As usual, they're running as pairs, so if you pick one, if you like one, you have to take them both, unfortunately. We've also got pens and little note cards like this set up in random rows around. You can write your questions on those cards as well, and we're going to be passing blue boxes that say donations, but they're actually for questions here in a minute while the presidential candidates are giving their rehearsed speeches. Also, today we have a debate moderator, Dr. Robertson, here in the front row. He's going to be moderating our questions and debate today. If nobody has any questions or concerns, we will go ahead and get started. Thank you all for coming.
Okay, thanks again to everyone for coming out. We'll do opening remarks first. I'm gonna, one remark for the entire process here. Please keep all boos, hisses, and whatever clapping you have to yourself until the end of the entire debate, okay? Please have respect and silence for the candidates. We'll do opening remarks first. Is this Vice President? Okay, so let's start with Chris Butner, opening remark.
I've only been a king for 3 years, but in that time, I've witnessed great change. The changing of king, the changing of myself, and the changing of those around me. For students, these formative years are a time of transition. Little did we know the university we were entering would also be in a time of transition. In my time at King, I've witnessed the fall of a president and the rise of a community. Students, faculty, staff, and alumni all came together to go forward into a state of uncertainty. We came out more sure than ever. This movement took a toxic environment and made King a place we can all be proud of. That being said, the movement is not over. It doesn't take long to look around at the campus and see the obvious issues we're talking about today. You all looked at your feet as you walked to the chapel this morning, lest you trip on a loose brick. Commuters made an economic decision about whether they wanted their car to be torn up by the potholes at Carmack Gate or the... Okay, sorry, I'm nervous. There are also less obvious issues. How do we, as a growing school, continue to develop a tight-knit community? How do we keep the professors that have come to mean so much to King to stay? What direction are we moving in as a school? These questions aren't talked about out of fear, insecurity, perhaps tradition. Whatever the reason, this act of avoiding the less obvious questions needs to stop. We are no longer able to ignore these issues. We are moving forward. We are king. Thank you.
Mr. Jonathan Carrier.
Good morning and welcome. I greatly appreciate all of you coming out to support this debate. While this debate may seem to be representing the people you see on stage, what it truly represents is King, and King is what I wish to discuss. When examining King from the hill at the main entrance, one sees a rolling field that leads to a glistening pond and a tree-covered landscape that complements the buildings on campus. The school is situated in an area of beauty provided by the Appalachian Mountains and a community that is rich in close relationships, culture, and history. The school shares these values with the community, and it makes it a great place to learn. Because of the culture, history of liberal arts, and the close relationships found in the student body, as well as the relationships students have with professors. While all these aspects make King great, there is a side of King that needs to be addressed. If one comes down off of that hill I aforementioned and closely examines the campus, it is not as pleasant. Stairs and exteriors of buildings falling apart, a decrepit oval, as well as poor conditions in dorms, classrooms, and offices. Things that make the campus unpleasant, ugly, and in some cases, unsafe. We also lack a sense of vision of where the school is going in the future and a sense of school pride. While we have a sense of community on campus, we lack the same closeness to Bristol as a whole, which is something we need to rebuild for the future success of the school. While we have many opportunities and advantages, we need only to seize to make this school a truly great place. To do so, we should look at the infrastructure, make the campus projects and facilities more durable, more welcoming, practical, and comfortable for the benefit of the current and future students, faculty, and staff. We need to develop a vision and pride for the school, for the present and the future by cultivating programs, facilities, and relationships with the community. We can build a great school for ourselves and future generations if we seize these opportunities and strive for a better tomorrow. In the words of Thomas Jefferson, I like the dreams of the future better than the history of the past.
Fast time limit. What we'll do is we'll begin with Carrier, and then we'll have Butner respond, and then for the next question, we'll let the vice president candidates respond in opposite, and we'll go back and forth in this way. So, Mr. Carrier, you first. We have no time limits, but you'll have 3 minutes, and if I think you're running on, I'll ask you to please shut up. Okay, so Jonathan, how would you use SGA as a vehicle to promote student needs and wants?
I plan to use SGA as what it was meant to be, as a moderator between the students and the faculty and staff, help develop relationships with the faculty, personal relationships that I can use to better the campus, relationships with people like admissions, registrar, maintenance, so that the projects I mentioned can take place and be of good quality.
Again, how would you use SGA as a vehicle to promote student needs and wants?
Yeah, so like John said, I mean, the SGA is meant to be a liaison between students and the administration, faculty, staff, board of trustees. I've got experience with all of those. I mean, I've worked with the administration, I've been to the meetings, and I think that the only thing that we can do to make this process more effective is to more effectively represent the students by means of, surveys, better just interpersonal relations with individual students, and really understanding what you all want. And sometimes that's not necessarily clear, but working through the gray areas and attempting to best represent what you all want.
The next question will be for the vice presidential candidates, and we'll begin with Cameron Sale. Mr. Sale, how would you promote an overall sense of community amongst the students?
Well, I think when it comes to community, our best option is to better communicate between all the organizations. We need to better understand our individual needs in these organizations. The problem right now is that SGA can't do much if we don't know, or rather if we don't communicate with the students. We are the mouthpiece to voice your concerns to the trustees and to the administrators. And I think for us to best work together, communication is the answer. Whether that be weekly meetings to check up on various organizations, meetings with residents' life to determine best courses of action. Communication, in short. Thank you.
Mr. Snodgrass, same question. How would you promote an overall sense of community amongst the students?
Yes, I believe in order to have more of a community, we need to show that we want to invest in King. We've lost a sense of pride over the years where, you see the campus deteriorating. You see people not, respecting the facilities. It's run down. And that's something that we need to lead by example by, showing that we're going to invest in the future. We're going to spend money to build a better campus. If you look at the Student Center, it's very well respected and very well taken care of because, it is a nicer building. It is something that we take pride in and take care of and we put emphasis on. And I think in order for us to build that community, we need a resurgence of pride, and that's going to come from investing in the campus, from, the people, the administration, the people at the top showing us that they do care, that they do want to grow better. Thank you.
Chris, the next question is for you. The SGA president will sit on the presidential search committee. How have you prepared for this role?
I've prepared for the role by being a student at King, being involved in 2 years of launch, being involved in the SGA in terms of being a senator, chief of staff, taking an active role with my professors and other students. And I feel as though I can best represent what the student body wants to these voting members on who will decide on the next president, decide on the qualities of what we want in our next president. Also, being involved in the We Are Not Asleep movement, which saw the ousting of the last president.
Jonathan, same question. The SGA president will sit on the presidential search committee. How have you prepared for this role?
I believe my time at King has prepared me for this role. I've been very active in the community. I have a close relationship with many professors. I've heard the complaints and concerns from faculty and staff. I have a connection to athletics, as well as I've served on many leadership roles on campus. I've worked in SGA launch, as well as Mr. Butler did. I also serve on the KSI executive board, and also I have a link to the community being local, and I believe that can help me understand both our community and the issues to the outside community surrounding King. Thank you.
Tallis, how would you make sure that King remains a strong academic school?
I think the way that we ensure that we remain strong in the academics is, again, to show that we take pride in what we do. Raise those standards, have accountability. Some professors request that their students meet with them, at least, once before midterms and once after midterms, to hold those students accountable, to show them that, this is where you're at, this is what we're aiming for. If we start, having programs like that to show the students that we do take pride in this, that, we are, we want to be an academic stronghold, that would allow us to achieve that.
Cameron, how would you make sure that King remains a strong academic school?
When it comes to academics, I think King is a wonderful place to get an education. I think we are an academic university. But one of the most important things to me when it comes to academics is research opportunities. Especially in the science department, our opportunities for research on campus are dwindling. It seems like they get fewer and fewer every year. And so the most important thing to me in terms of academic development here at King would be internship opportunities and research opportunities that allow us to get a real taste of the academic world here on campus, to get a big university experience here at our small university. Thank you.
Chris, a follow-up to my previous question. What will you be looking for in the next King University school president? Not class president, but school president.
So from what I've heard from the community, we want a focus on the liberal arts, a transition away from the accredited, affordable advertising. So someone who really sees King for what it is and appreciates what we all believe we're capable of, and isn't going to settle for, another business and nursing, focused school. Someone that's going to focus on striving to develop students through Christ, like we all came here to.
And Jonathan, what will you be looking for in the next school president?
I agree with that. Liberal arts should be a focus at this school. That's what we were founded on, and that is what the school revolves around. But also, one of the main issues we should look at for president is someone who can link to the outside community and be efficient at fundraising. We need more funds on this campus to help with projects, to increase long-term infrastructure and facilities so that we can increase our ability to research, to learn, and just to grow as a school.
Dallas, what are some practical changes that your administration could change or improve quickly?
Yes, one thing we would like to do is try to change the structure of some of the committees and people that are working within SGA to allow us to be more efficient. We'd like to be able to reach out to the community and go ahead and bring in more money. Be able to reach out to alumni. Alumni giving here at King is at an all-time low. I've heard numbers like 6% of alumni are giving back, which is ridiculous, and we have to really, approach that strongly and try to bring in more funds so that we can, fix the oval, fix the infrastructure, build up, some of our athletic facilities. We're definitely lacking. So that's something that I think that can be an immediate fix. Especially something like, the gravel parking lots or the potholes. These are things that, we're told that there's not enough money for, but they seem like they would be, a quick fix and something that we certainly need to fix soon if we intend to bring in more students and to grow the school. So I think fundraising, and particularly a focus on the infrastructure is something that we could have an immediate effect on.
And Cameron, what are some practical changes that your administration could change or improve quickly?
Our immediate goals, like Talis said, one of our most immediate goals is streamlining and optimizing SGA. A lot of the people we talk to point out a lot of unnecessary positions in the organization, and a lot of inefficiency in general, whether it be money or time spent. But then another one of our immediate goals, in addition to optimizing SGA, is to, excuse me one second. In addition to optimizing SGA, one of our immediate goals is to, like I said before, increase or optimize our communication with various organizations. And so as we were speaking to people on campus, trying to get an idea of what the problems are, a lot of the things that came up were things like living conditions in the residence halls. And one great fix for that problem would be better communication with residence life. We are the voice of the students, and we can solve problems if we know what the problems are. And so better communication about issues, better communication with organizations like Residence Life or perhaps food services. Those are just some examples. But the quicker that we can communicate problems across the board, the quicker we can solve them.
Chris, I believe this is a related question. How would you help students understand how their money is used when campus maintenance is so poor?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
How would you help students understand how their money is used when campus maintenance is so poor?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's not much we can really do in regards to that, but the best that we could probably do with it is holding those accountable when we're promised things like better Wi-Fi. I mean, we were all promised better Wi-Fi very recently. They stated it was going to come very quickly, and it still hasn't come. Now we're being told it's going to be pushed back to summer. I was actually just told that yesterday, and that they've known about that for some time. So holding individuals and administration trustees accountable to their word. So when they say, we're going to fix the oval, we're going to improve the Wi-Fi, that actually comes to fruition, and they're not just empty words.
Jonathan, how would you help students understand how their money is used when campus maintenance is so poor?
Chris made a good point saying that in some ways there's not much we can do as far as pushing the administration and the faculty. We don't have a lot of clouded students sometimes, but I think that in some cases we need to take our things into our own hand and do what we can to increase these projects on our own. And like you said, hold people accountable, force them in some ways, I guess force isn't a good way, but push them to a point where they will work with us and get on these projects in a way that would help us in the future.
Okay, let's maybe have a little fun now. Tallis, why should we vote for you and not the other party?
Well, one thing, John and I are both short, as you probably seen with the mic exchange. So you're voting for a minority, I suppose. King is something that I've invested in. It's something that I've bought into. I've lived here my whole life. I love the area, and I'm very passionate about it. I had the opportunity to come here and play baseball. I was very blessed with that opportunity. This was a school that I looked at since, freshman, sophomore year, something that I aspired to achieve. I love King. I love the idea of, a Christian liberal arts school, and I want to see it succeed. This is a place that, years down the road, I can see myself investing in, and I've bought into the future at King, and I want to be able to leave a school better than what we inherited. So it's really just, my vision, I can, tout about how patriotic I am, me thinking I'm Captain America and stuff like that. But, really I think, it's our vision that we bring. It's our vision for the future, wanting to invest in the future at King. That's why I would like to encourage people to vote for John and I.
Cameron, why should we vote for you and not the other party?
Well, as Talis said he was born and raised here. I too, born and raised in the area. I love the mountains. I love the school. I think the science department here at King is absolutely top notch. And I love the instructors. I really love the setting here at King. I think something that qualifies me would be I enjoy communicating. I enjoy speaking. I have experience in theater, argumentation, logic, and I think one of the main problems here on campus is a complete lack of optimization, a complete lack of effective communication. I feel like the vast majority of the roadblocks we hit here at King are related to communicating problems and communicating solutions. And so I think a team of president and vice president who can quickly and effectively communicate problems and solutions with various groups across campus, I think that's the sort of team that would best serve us here at King. Thank you.
Chris, we've had a couple of questions to this tone, so perhaps it's an important one to the student body. Do you have any past experience on a student council, and what was your position?
It was great. I've served 2 years in launch. I'm currently the director of KSI. I am currently the SGA chief of staff and SGA senator for the junior class. This summer I'll be, I'm not certain of my title. I believe I'm intern at the King Institute of Global Studies. And I've served in various other leadership roles throughout high school that I don't feel are worthy of mentioning. And I was on the improv team, of course.
Jonathan, could you please speak to your prior leadership experience?
On campus, I have served. I'm currently working on my 3rd year of launch. I'm the junior class managing director for SGA, as well as an executive board member for KSI. Outside of King, I've learned a lot about leadership. I'm an Eagle Scout, worked in many leadership roles through that facet, as well as I've coached 2 travel ball baseball teams, a 16 and under and an 18 and under. And while I can't get up here and speak very well, I'm a very good leader. I may sound like I'm tooting my horn right there, but I have a lot of experience that can back that up.
I only have a couple of questions remaining, so if you have something that's interesting, please go ahead and submit that via Twitter. Where were we? Talis, how would you increase school pride?
I think we should make, every day the 4th of July, Independence Day. And, I think we need to see, an investment in King. I've kind of been harping on this, but I think that's something that the administration needs to show that they care about the future, that they are willing to invest in King. We need to see the oval being fixed. We need to see, steps being fixed, and we need to see them being fixed in a way, for the long term. We've been so ephemeral with the way that we've done things here at King. Instead of fixing something like the steps and them lasting for 10 years, we're having to fix them twice a year. We see this at Klein, we see this over at White, we see it all over campus. The same thing with the potholes. And I know that, weather has an effect on it. That's something that, needs to be fixed immediately. You know, we need to show that we do take pride in this, you know, that we are going to fix things so that you're safe, so that you don't have to worry about your car, you know, getting bumped up or something like that. You know, we need to see the people up top showing that they are investing in King, that, you know, we are investing for the future, that King will be here in the future. Because, you know, we're in a situation where it looks so bleak that, you know, some students are thinking that we're going to be the next BI, and we don't want that. You know, we need to see the people in charge show that they, you know, they do care, that they are investing in the future.
Cameron, how would you increase school pride?
Well, Talis brought up a great point with the physical appearance of the school. Grounds upkeep. You know, when we bring in prospective students to tour the school and they drive in from the first entrance over on King College Road, it's not the smoothest ride in the world. You know, there are certain things about the campus that don't do very, very well for our first impressions. And so, you know, physical upkeep of the grounds is a good way to increase school pride. But I think even more importantly, focus on academics and in the classroom could increase pride here at King. I think research opportunities and better classroom setups, especially in the science halls and you know, math and science halls, especially facilities for our fine arts. The Fab is certainly an eyesore. You know, prospective students looking at performance arts may take a look at our fine arts building and immediately deem it inadequate, and I think any of us would. And not only inadequate, but a genuine health concern. I don't think any of us want to be in the Fab for too long. So of course, physical upkeep of the grounds, but also we want to appeal to prospective students with research opportunities, with research equipment, with things that we can use to attract students of various disciplines. Thank you.
Well, members of both parties have articulated that they'd actually like to spend some money to fix things. So I'll ask you this, Chris. How will you handle opposition from members of the administration?
In terms of money?
Well, the question doesn't specify, but my sense is this is an area where you could run into some opposition.
Right. I don't know. I don't think, certainly reason is not always a language spoken by the administration here. You know, I could drop names all day, but yeah, persistence, I mean, that's really the only option. Persistence and continually using sound reason, bringing more and more evidence. And I mean, if we have to climb the ladder, I mean, the issues aren't with the Board of Trustees. They just don't know about the issues. I mean, we gave them a tour of the dormitories, and they had no idea the state that we were living in. And now that they've seen those, I mean, we've seen small changes, and we've been told to expect big changes in the future. And so I think, you know, persistence, and then, if necessary, climb the ladder.
And Jonathan, same question to you. How will you handle opposition from members of administration? And perhaps you two could specifically speak to addressing some of these infrastructure concerns.
I agree with Chris on the fact that persistence and climbing the ladder may be necessary at some points, but I think that shouldn't be the only route we take. To climb the ladder, we would need a better relationship with the Board of Trustees. And we shouldn't just build that to climb the ladder to go behind administration's back. We need that relationship to better the school, to get better funding, and to open up their eyes to the lack of infrastructure and projects on the campus. And in regards to administration, being hard-nosed with them doesn't seem to get us very far. I feel like first coming to them and building a close relationship with them, a friendly relationship, to where we can use reason to get across to them our concerns. I feel like the relationship aspect of this school between the students and the faculty and administration and staff should be increased and capitalized on.
Well, we're beginning to run out of time. I have one question remaining, which may also serve as a good concluding remark question. So we'll give this question to the presidential candidates as well. Mr. Butner, I'll let you go first. Would you please tell us what are the overall plans of your campaign?
Right. So, I mean, as Cameron has alluded to several times, increasing communication among organizations, Residence Life, Slack, any organizations that plan events, dining services, so that we're not, wasting resources, having 5 events for Halloween. I mean, some of you wore your costumes all week. You know who you are, and we know who you are because we smelled you a mile away. Increased communication, optimization of the SGA. There's entirely too many positions. I think there's something like 20 directors, a senator at large position, which is essentially useless. We can't really do anything for the GPS campuses because we don't know about their issues. We can't do anything about the online program because it's outsourced. And then just general upkeep of SGA duties, like, John said, developing a friendship with the administration, developing a relationship with faculty and different organizations on campus. All of these are entirely necessary, a bit obvious, but worth mentioning. And I think that all these are going to be, right down my and Cameron's wheelhouse because of our communication experience, because of our experience in the community and on campus, and because of our different viewpoints. I mean, it's not going to be an echo room in our cabinet because we've chosen people of various viewpoints and backgrounds, and I think that's going to make all the difference. Thank you.
And Jonathan, would you please articulate the overall plans of your campaign?
As previously stated, our main issue is going to be the infrastructure on campus. As far as that goes, making sure projects are going along with lasting instead of staircases being fixed every 3 months because they're crumbling. One aspect of that would be instead of brick staircases in front of Klein and wide, replacing it with a concrete staircase with like a 4,000-pound natural sand fiber. I'm sorry, I poured concrete in the summer, so I know. And that's going to increase the durability. It's also going to look really well and last a long time. The oval should be a major issue. Instead of bricks, again, some kind of nice concrete would work better than bricks because of how the oval is laid out and the structures underneath the oval. It's just going to continue to deteriorate even if we rebuild it. Also, we need to look at facilities, as they mentioned, the Fine Arts Building. We can look at building a new building for the Fine Arts program, one that they would be proud of, that we could pull in speakers and concerts for to help raise money for the school. And that's where one of our main issues is raising money for the school. Talis and I both have strong ties to the community, know many local businessmen that we feel that we could help gather donations for the school, as well as build a good relationship with the Board of Trustees to also fundraise. And then back to infrastructure, that is another thing that in roundabout way lead to more money and more students. If we have better infrastructure, better facilities, we're going to bring in more students and more money, which is going to lead to the long-term success of the school. That's about it.
Please join me in thanking the candidates for all their remarks. And thank you all for coming. Thank you for taking time out of your day to come and be informed. The CCS credit might have been the main factor there, but we'll just pretend for a minute that you care about, everything that's going on. The elections, the voting period is from Wednesday to Friday this week. The ballot is available on your portal. It should be on, there should be a link to it, I believe, on the front page of when you log into your MyKing account. I think that is all we have. Thank you all again for coming, and have a great rest of your day.